YouTube, what's good, fam? This MasoMoney back with another video. So y'all know about KSO make his face go, the op dropping drill rapping Savage. That's what he was living for. So we gotta stamp him, but it seems as though his day came. He had his run. He was hot in the streets, and now they sentenced him. And I believe that the only possible sentences for his case was life in prison. So we're about to watch this full video that's about to break down the beef that got KSO and his co-defendant ATK Scotty in this situation. All right, so make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe to MasoMoney, and we're gonna get straight into it.
Go get that money, don't stop. Let's go. I'm in the spot, it's just me and the hitters. I'm spending quality time with the killers.
How exactly do you think someone responds when they finally come to the conclusion that they will never be leaving prison until they are a bag of crushed up dust? That is currently what happened to KSO and ATK Scotty today when they were officially sentenced for the murder of Jacksonville rapper Lil Buck.
All right, Mr. Robinson, if you'll come forward for sentencing. All right, Mr. Robinson, again, on July 31 of 2025, the jury found you guilty as charged in count 1 to murder in the first degree by unanimous verdict. And at this time, this court will then adjudicate you guilty of that offense and sentence you to the only lawful sentence that this court can impose, and that is mandatory life in prison. All right. Man, I fell down to my knees when the law came. Well, as did I, and on July 31, this jury did find you guilty both of count 1, murder in the first degree, and count 2, burglary with an assault and battery. Unanimous vote by the jury. And so today I will adjudicate you guilty of each of those 2 counts. And on count 1, the murder in the first degree, this court has no choice but to sentence you as required under the law to a mandatory term of life in prison without parole.
January 15, 2020, police responded to a scene that sounded like it was more of a GTA heist mission instead of a normal Wednesday afternoon in Jacksonville, Florida.
Nah, these dudes they really think they playing GTA. I be telling people this, like, you think you about to respawn, bro? Like, I don't think people can comprehend how long life is. Like, even 4-5 years is a long time. Imagine forever.
Charles, was it Charles? They shot Charles McCormick. He has a black mask on. He has on a skull cap. He's running across the parking lot.
I see that vehicle just pop out and it's gunning it.
Another woman testified 2 men believed to be connected to the shooting burst into her home after the crime.
Little did everyone know, the events from this day would forever change the state of Jacksonville's drill scene, one crash out incident at a time. That cool January morning started like any other for 23-year-old Charles McCormick, who was just starting his day pulling up to a work temp agency at a shopping center on Dames Point Plaza. He woke up, and little did he know, in the same parking lot he was arriving in, several masked men would be starting their days too. Only difference is they were starting theirs with murder on their mind at just 11 a.m. As rising Jacksonville rapper
How dumb do you gotta be to, bro? A shopping center, of course, it's cameras. If you followed him to a shopping center, why would you bounce out at a shopping center where there's 100 cameras? That don't even make sense.
AKA Lil Buck got out of his car. The group of masked men swarmed and took him out in broad daylight in a firefight that just lasted seconds. Bro, I swear, being a Jacksonville drill artist is damn near like a suicide mission. Nobody makes it out with their freedom or their lives. We know a lot of them are just products of their environment. However, there's one dude from Jacksonville, a man known for cashing hats like a lid store, a man who's been seen laughing and giggling in court for his murder charge, a man who I would consider a legit demon, a dude named after cheese after all. KSO, the infamous shooter, known for taking out Jacksonville legend Julio Fulio's brother, and Lil Buck, when news just broke that he has officially been convicted for first-degree murder.
Based on the verdict of the jury finding you
first degree.
And it's honestly one of the most insane trials I've ever seen. From laughing in the courtroom, to his dad deciding to testify against him, to one of the people who did the crime with him and in the getaway car testifying and literally receiving nothing in return, to the...
He told for no reason? But I ain't gonna lie. Think about it this way. You with your homie, y'all go do something illegal, right? Let alone, like, just something small. He killed somebody, right? So he go shoot somebody, and then instead of being low-key about the body, he go online and start making music. You not telling on him, gang? Okay. You a real one. You a savage. They finna stamp you. Savage stamp.
of disrespect that this dude has, straight posting stuff like going to the nail salon after murdering someone. We're truly in an era of serial killers turned rappers, and it seems like KSO is the Charles Manson of the rap game. While his freedom is currently cooked, there's no secret that the NHG top shotter made waves in the city of Jacksonville in his short career. Right? So today, we got to talk about the bodies that made KSO Jacksonville's top shooter famous, and apparently got him poised to spend the rest of his life behind bars. We're going to get into it right now, but before we do, gang, I need you to do something for me. Like, comment, subscribe. We're on the road to 30K subscribers. We are literally less than 3K away, man. By the end of this video, we can honestly get that. If everyone who watches it, make sure you subscribe. And then hit that notification bell so whenever I post, y'all tapped in. Check out that merch.
For sure.
Part-time drill artist, full-time serial killer, was pretty much born to fail, being born into a family of shooters and gangbangers. The wild thing is, his family's involvement in the streets directly played a role into the shooting that got him.
Just his family? So his dad was the one who told on him, right? And then this is his brother, Crazy Crazy. This is Scotty. This is the one who is co-defendant. This is other co-defendant that told on him. So it was both his brothers in this case? Damn.
Family's involvement in the streets directly played a role into the shooting that got him a life sentence. Before the death of Charles McCormick, before the death of Bibby, before linking up with Young and Ace, before KSO was even born, the Robinson family in Jacksonville is known to being the original crash outs. The son of an OG named Blue, who was a well-documented shooter and also a parent federal informant, and the brother of a well-respected shooter turned rapper, Boss Goon, aka Willie Anderson. KSO was surrounded by shooters from a young age, with many of his family members being associated with an infamous gang called Flag Street. KSO would jump off the porch and quickly jump into the Jacksonville rap scene with all the main artists that we know today, like Fulio, Young and Ace, all of them. It's crazy because there's even photos of KSO with Fulio in them back in the day. However, at a certain point, there was a split in the scene, and the two sides ended up starting a war in Jacksonville that we see today between ATK and NHG, who KSO was affiliated with, and members of 6 Block, where Fulio was from. However, things got very real and personal for KSO for the first time when his brother, Boss Goon, and father would be targeted in a surprise ambush that would directly link to the murder that he got sentenced for today. By 2019, KSO's brother, Boss Goon, and his father, Blue, have recently gotten out of lengthy prison terms and were looking to change their lives around and focus on making music to do it. So in January of 2019, Boss Goon had a performance at a local strip club to try to build his career up in the city. He would pull up with his brother, Crazy K, and their dad, Blue. Everything went well during the performance, and they all decided to hop into their truck and leave. That's when a car would pull up alongside them and air it out.
First at 5, that's the news we hate telling you.
See, like, this be the same thing, like, when people be wondering why the drill rappers don't be getting on. They can't get paid, because who finna book a drill rapper who talk about shooting ops all day? So y'all can shoot up my club? So you can get popped outside of my venue? Bro, why would you invite a drill rapper to any You can't even make a flyer. His ops pulling up. One. Secondly, earlier, I'm wondering, like, why did KSO just bounce out in broad daylight in a shopping center? Now I understand. He actually the crazy one. Like that probably made him lose his mind. It sounded like his brother really got hit up off of this. His daddy got shot. So he's spinning like a laundromat. Somebody gotta die. Straight up and down. I think in the streets, that's like a street legend. But like on the internet, that's like goofy. Like I'm trying to find the balance because the internet love the streets. But the streets get you life in prison. But you gotta tell the internet the street stuff you do because the internet where all the money at? I don't know. We got to talk about this in another video.
But it's a reality. Another violent night in Jacksonville. A total of 6 people shot.
1 person has died and 5 others were injured after gunfire erupted about 2 this morning. Now, this incident began at the Paradise Gentlemen's Club on Bay Meadows Road, and it ended 6 miles away on Spring Park Road and Emerson Street in the Inglewood area of Jacksonville. Now, we just got some new surveillance video. Take a look with us here. In the video, you can see a silver SUV driving along Emerson. Seconds later, 2 other cars follow. And at the bottom of your screen there, you'll be able to see a group of people. They turn their heads in that parking lot as witnesses say the gunfire just broke out.
And the victims all taken to Memorial Hospital. That shooting happening on Emerson Street, just east of 95. Cam Eppinger with the tale of the tape.
Yeah, that shooting happening just after 2 o'clock this morning, right here along Emerson Road in the Spring Park area, right in front of this Ducky's Touchless Car Wash business, and you can still see some of the orange evidence markers still left here in the street. Now, police say 6 people were shot while riding in a Chevy Tahoe SUV, and after the shooting, the driver of the SUV drove straight to the hospital. One person died following the shooting. Police say that victim was about 25 years old. The 5 other victims' injuries ranged from minor to life-threatening. Shortly after the shooting, an SUV that matches the description of the victim's SUV could be seen on surveillance video.
Blue would get several times hit in the back. Crazy K would get hit in the head twice, but somehow survive. But Boss Goon, aka Willie Anderson, would get shot multiple times and die on the scene, unfortunately. The car would speed off, and no leads on who did it would ever come up. This shooting profoundly affected the family, with KSO dad Blue apparently putting money on the head of whoever did the murder, but at the same time would go on the news and ask for justice.
He wants people to know he's not retaliating for the murder of his son.
If you put a bag on somebody's head, you are not allowed to snitch. You're not me. You're not a civilian. You can't put bags on people's head, shoot ops. I understand he lost his son, but you put a bag on somebody's head, your son wouldn't pick that bag up, Pops. And then when you get the case with him, now you want to talk? You're not allowed to do that. Like it be so because at first I'm like, okay, if your son just caught a body and then he just told you to pick him up on some random stuff, then like you wrong. You should snitch. But it sound like you low-key big shooter. The thing is he's trying to treat his son like his ride or dies. He ain't even lived yet. You treating a boy like a ride or die. You a 50-year-old man. You got your son living like he at the end of his life. You at the end of your life, old man. And you ain't realize that until you in prison about to get a life with your son? Nah, bro. Somebody got to talk to the old heads, too. The old heads stay getting on my little brother for shooting that switch. Old heads, you sent my little bro off.
Just for my son. I'm not sending nobody out there. They got, quote, unquote, I'm supposed to have hits.
Which is a crazy juxtaposition. Well, at the time, there wasn't much evidence of what exactly happened. Many chalked it up to the ongoing beef with 6 Block. You see, during the trial, they would discover a diss track made by Charles McCormick, aka Lil Buck, who was dissing their fallen members, Boss Goon, who was also a 6 Block member. In the actual trial, one of the people who helped KSO in the shooting, who also testified against him, would actually say that it was this diss track that would make him and KSO want to crash out. Obviously, the song was so ass, it sucks. It's not even worth getting demonetized over. But if you want to go check it out, you can watch the whole trial where they play it. You can make an entire 45-minute video on the war with 6 Block, and you have that 10 times over on this channel leading up to Fulio's death, which you can go check out. But from this point on, it pretty much became a personal beef for KSO. And we're going to talk about this timeline. Many believe that previous situation and not finding out who was exactly responsible for the shooting made KSO's dad tell KSO to slide on 6 Block, try to find anyone that they could, which ended up being Lil Buck. The first of 2 murders, the pair of ATK Scotty and KSO would be accused of, which we'll get into in Chapter 2. Following that diss track that Lil Buck would drop, members from KSO's side were trying to lurk and find him and take him out. KSO's friend, who testified against him, Dominic Barner, would go into detail saying that they would watch Lil Buck's Instagram day in and day out and try to locate where he was. At the same time, he would look up his whole name and then search for old court paperwork to locate his address. He found the address eventually on Core, and then he hit up KSO and ATK Scotty and would start lurking at his apartment complex, waiting for him to come outside. It's honestly a crazy operation how they were stalking dude day in and day out, waiting for him to be home. But finally, on January 15th, 2020, they would finally catch up to him. The driver, Dominic Barner, would go into extreme detail, pretty much stating that on the morning, he and KSO and ATK Scotty, aka Leroy Whitaker, would arrive at his house at around 5 a.m. and case his scene. Apparently, they planned on ambushing him as soon as they saw him post on social media. However, they were distracted when he eventually did come out of his house, so they decided to follow him to a shopping center close by. Charles McCormick had no idea that these men were following him in 2 separate cars as he went to Dames Point Plaza on Merrill Road to go to an interview at a temp job agency. However, he would never make it home as KSO and Scotty would run out of the getaway car, chase him, gun him down, and get back in.
A homicide. Witnesses say that the shooting happened in a shopping center along Merrill Road, just west of Townsend Boulevard. Let's go straight out to our Nick Perot. He has the very latest right now.
Katie, good afternoon. Yes, Jacksonville Fire Rescue confirmed 1 man is dead. We can tell you we're in the Dames Point Shopping Plaza. Off in the distance here, that Express Employment, we can tell you we've got 1 bullet hole in that shop. Again, looking to learn more here from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
This is all done in broad daylight. So they would have...
He could have worked hard at the temp agency before he dissed all the ops. Why would you do that? I gotta stop saying stuff that makes sense on my channel, bro.
Off when a police officer would see them and follow them. When all 3 of them jumped out of the car, they left guns and tons of evidence in the car right after, which pretty much left them cooked from the jump. They would jump into a woman's house, hold her hostage until KSO's father, Abdul Robinson, who also testified against him, will pick them up and drive them away from the scene.
The moment you start tying people up and all that stuff, if the police come pick you up and you tied somebody up, they're about to give you football numbers, guaranteed.
Imagine testifying against your own son, who you were apparently told to slide for you, who's literally also like being an accomplice in the situation. Honestly, it's something that I have never really thought is something that's possible, but you know, you learn something new that is possible in the Jacksonville scene every single time there's one of these incidents that go on. The war in Jacksonville has literally cost so many lives, both to violence or the criminal justice system. However, within that year, that would not be the only murder that KSO would get accused of, because he would get accused for an earlier murder when he was questioned and arrested for the Lil Buck situation because of the amount of evidence and surveillance photos. But there's many debating whether in fact he did do another murder several months earlier, which we'll get into in the next chapter, the death of Bibby.
I mean,
as the war in Jacksonville had continued, there was much speculation that the killing of Fulio's little brother Bibby was also the work of KSO. As he was in the custody for the murder of Lil Buck, he would be charged for the murder of a 16-year-old in the Hilltop Gardens apartment.
He don't even know what he's doing. He got a grown man getting at his ass.
We have a rep for your arrest for murder today. What? Yes.
I'm just niggas that's never coming home.
Lawyer, so I can't tell you no more, but you'll be in trouble.
As with many people involved in the ATK 6 block beef, there was much back and forth online between many in these groups. Just days before his murder, Bibby would be seen dissing KSO in his Facebook comments on a post, and it was one of the many examples of dissing that we see throughout this whole situation. However, it would catch up to the 16-year-old Adrian Garner Jr. on the day of February 26, 2019.
The fire erupts inside a Northwest Side apartment complex. It leaves this 16-year-old dead. Neighbors say that the shooting sounded like a war zone.
Yeah.
60 to 70 rounds had to be dropped.
67 rounds.
In the course of maybe
they pulling up with Dracos and switches.
Sky 4 captured the large crime scene outside the Hilltop Village apartment complex off 45th Street just before 3 this afternoon. For several hours, the backside of the apartment complex was taped off as investigators collected shell casings and other evidence.
And while police have not released the victim's name, sources tell us it's Adrian Gaynor Jr. Tonight, News 4 Jackson reporter Eric Gauthier was there earlier and has the latest.
Adrian Gaynor Jr. died for Bibby. You know what I'm saying?
Family members have identified the 16-year-old boy who was shot and killed inside the parking lot of Hilltop apartment complex as Adrian Gaynor Jr. They say he was employed at a local McDonald's, attended school regularly, and was beginning to get on the right track. The person or people responsible for his death has not been captured, which is why we are not identifying neighbors who say.
But it's like, if you a kid and you don't know no better, like you 16, you playing a grown man game, and a lot of kids don't understand that the streets is a grown man game. So you used to saying stuff with no repercussions until a crazy ass 20-year-old grown man decides that he wants to pull up on you with a Draco for all that online talking you doing. You thought you was tough messing with kids. Now you playing a grown man's game. And like a lot of younger kids don't understand that. You think they do. You ask, why did that kid do that? He's so dumb. He's a kid. He don't know better. You may be old enough or smart enough, or you may have went to enough school to know better. His ass literally don't know better. He think, I got a gun. He got a gun. I'll be good. But is you ready to get stalked for 12 hours till he stand over you? You ain't ready for that.
It sounded like a plethora of weapons being fired.
At around 3 o'clock, he would be last seen posted up at the gazebo in the Hilltop Apartments neighborhood when two mass assailants would pull up on him and start shooting like crazy.
Yeah.
Davis would describe it sounding like Iraq outside. Police will respond just after 3 p.m. to reports of a shooting at the Hilltops apartment complex and find the body of Adrian Gardner in the main parking lot in the complex. There's been much discourse over who actually caught this body though, but police would apparently know for sure that it was KSO who committed this murder again with ATK Scotty. However, Fulio would be on record on IG Live saying that he doesn't believe that KSO actually committed this murder, which made people think that it was actually ATK Scotty work who was behind his death. So now we got to get into the aftermath. So as you probably know, KSO was officially convicted for first-degree murder. ATK Scotty was convicted for first-degree murder and burglary. They haven't been sentenced yet, but if we were to guess, they're probably getting life because of a whole litany of crimes. He got testified against by his homie who was in the situation with him in the promise of possibly getting a reduced sentence of like 20 years when he was apparently supposed to get 40. Then his father testified against him. There was surveillance that they basically used to sort of like match him to the crimes with the whole DNA hype database type situation, man. It honestly has him super cooked. He actually spoke out after the incident saying that he had an all-white jury, and they basically convicted him because of racism, and his lawyers did an all-star job. You know, Young and Ace said that both of them are coming home soon, man. You know, it's kind of cooked. The only way they're coming home is some appeal, but I don't really see them coming home. There's so much evidence against him with several people testifying who were
He literally got famous for killing black people and then talked about racism. Bro, can you stop doing that, bro? That's messing the cause up, bro. You said you was a savage super killer. Why are you trying to use the white jury as the reason why? How about you don't put yourself in a position to get a life without prison possibility? It's not that hard. I promise you, like, even doing like small stuff to follow the law or misdemeanors, that's one thing. Okay, maybe they was a bit racist for your little misdemeanor. You kill ops and make music about it. What are you talking about, race? You're not allowed to say that. That's like gangsters who killed a neighbor and then say the police being racist. What are you talking about? You not me. They don't pull you over for no reason. You the reason why they keep treating us like that. And then you can't use that card, bro. But hey, man, I just want to see the best for my people, for my brothers, for my savages, for my gang. No, I can't say that. They gotta know that I'm PC. So I appreciate y'all for watching this video with MasoMoney. So make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And then if you don't do any of that stuff, it's probably a video up here that you could just watch another video with me. All right. I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm out.